Cowboys Nation. What's going on? It's boy Dre Tuck. Got the mask on. I'm at the airport. No, no, got the wife at the airport. Yeah, we here at the airport. We're gonna be here for another 4 or 5 hours. So I figured I'd try to go live, man, answer a few questions. I see a lot of people kind of been talking about a few things on Twitter, so I just want to jump on real quick and answer. Y'all probably can't hear me because I wear this stupid mask. I got my Bane mask on. It is what it is, man. But salute to everyone. But keep the questions coming, man. I want to chime into a few things. So, I see a lot of people talking about Tony Pollard, right? Tony Pollard's been getting some looks, right, at wide receiver. And a lot of people are panicking. Like, all right, Tuck, what does this mean? Is Tony Pollard going to be a wide receiver next year? No, y'all. No, he's not going to be a wide receiver. To be honest with y'all, he's not going to be a wide receiver. He's going to be a running back. But people got to understand, Tony Pollard played wide receiver when he was at Memphis. So there's nothing new. You often get this in OTAs, right? Last year you had Blake Jarwin. You had Dalton Schultz. You had a few other people, playing like H-back, right? And so Tony Pollard getting reps at wide receiver. Don't start panicking. Don't think that we're going to start looking for other running backs. He's going to be moved there officially. Nah, he's just going to be a wide receiver, get some reps. But personally, I've been wanting to include Tony Pollard in the passing game a lot more than what we've been seeing. So, like I said, he's a dynamic running back. He needs to get the ball in his hands, get the ball in space where Tony Pollard can actually create. So, I'm fully open to seeing, Tony Pollard get a lot more reps out in space. And maybe it'll be more slot. Mike McCarthy likes to use a lot of people. I'm really about to take this mask off because I feel like I shouldn't have myself. But, yeah, there we go. There you go. It's a hack, man. I got a drink, so mask off, right? All right, so don't what mask shame me. Mask shame me is what people do right now. So like I was saying, man, because y'all probably couldn't hear nothing I was saying. Tony Pollard getting reps at the wide receiver spot. Like I said, don't panic. It's going to be very clickbaity-ish right now. But don't think that Tony Pollard is a traditional wide receiver that we're moving on. What's up, my guy, Carlos? What's going on, bro? Like I said, I'm stranded here in the airport for quite some time, man. So I figured I'd hop on and talk to the people, talk to the fam, see what's going on. But also, like I said, Tony Pollard played wide receiver when he was at the University of Memphis, and so he got those reps. And we all know Tony Pollard can do a lot more than to play as a traditional running back. So I would like to see him utilized in the passing game a lot more than we saw in previous. So you're saying, so I'm open to seeing Tony Pollard used as a wide receiver on occasion, but I still think that he's going to be utilized in the backfield as a running back. What's up, Moving the Chains? I see you. Also, it's never been talked today. I saw my guy Rome, Cowboys fan talk. He kind of mentioned, this whole debate. I'm not sure what really sparked it. Is about Dalton Schultz versus Blake Jarwin, like who's going to be the starter. And I want to say this, I'm a huge Blake Jarwin fan, supporter. I like Blake Jarwin, but we got to keep it a buck, Cowboys fam, and be honest. Like, for the most part, Dalton Schultz has shown improved a lot more than Blake Jarwin has in Dallas. Like, let's just keep it a buck. That's just kind of where we're at right now. So I feel like, honestly, going into the season or going into camp right now, I feel like Dalton Schultz should get the nod to kind of be his spot to lose. Now, we know Blake Jarwin is still kind of rehabbing from his ACL tear from last year, but they also saw reports about, Dalton Schultz going to train with George Kittle or whatnot. Like I said, for the most part, granted, y'all know I was on the pitch train and wanted to get a new tight end, but for the most part, man, I think Dalton Schultz had a decent year last year, and I feel like this tight end position should be a lot more open competition than what people allow it. I know a lot of people are saying just follow the money and Blake Jarwin's getting paid more. Not necessarily, because you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. What's up, Steve? What's going on, bro? Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm going to South Dakota, man. South Dakota. Cheers to South Dakota. Yeah, my wife's not too happy about it either. So like I said, I think it should be an open competition between Blake Jarwin
and also Dalton Schultz, and may the best men win. Because if you take a look at it, like I said, Dalton Schultz had a decent year. Even though things were kind of turmoil like last year, Dalton Schultz was solid offensively. And so if he steps up and he shows improve, that Blake Jarwin should not be locked into this position. And I don't think that's the case. I think it's going to be open season, and we'll see what happens from there. But like I said, Dalton Schultz has shown that he can play through a full season, because granted, as much as we like Blake Jarwin, I'm a huge Blake Jarwin fan. I know my guy Nick's, likes Blake Jarwin, all coming out of Oklahoma State. For the most part, he just hasn't shown improve throughout a full NFL season, and so it remains to be unseen. So, if it's up to me, Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin are going to bang out. But I think that from the Dak perspective, that Dak does have a relationship in the passing game when it comes to Blake Jarwin. And so that might, kind of play into the factor right there. But like I said, as far as the skill set, I think that, Jarwin's a little bit more dynamic to what he brings to the offense, especially in the passing game. But seeing what Dalton Schultz brought last year, you can't just X him out. And we also got the guy Jeremy Sprinkle in. We got a few undrafted free agents that we also spoke about. So there could be a move. Because I think Dalton Schultz's contract is up. We signed Blake Jarwin. I think Blake Jarwin has a contract, quote me if I'm wrong, for 2 more seasons, but we can get out next year. And so we all know how this Dallas Cowboys front office likes to operate, especially when there's money involved. That might be an opportunity for them to slide out of that contract. So, yeah, my guy Steve says, Schultz balled out last season. I was dead wrong about Schultz, though he was a blocking tight end almost exclusively. Yeah, like I said, he did his job. He did his job, man, and you really can't knock Dalton Schultz for what he did last year and really brought to the team. Like, offensively, even though we kind of had some, some injuries and, changes of different quarterbacks, Dalton Schultz had a solid season to what we expected. Because at first, when we kind of did the final rosters in the summer, a lot of us didn't know if Dalton Schultz was even going to be on that final roster, because I was extremely high on Blake Bell. Coming over, because I seen Blake Bell when he was a quarterback at OU, also what he's done here in Kansas City. I think he came back here to Kansas City, so Blake Bell was solid. But, I think Dalton Schultz, he stepped up, he showed improve, and so he deserves the chance to earn the right to maybe win that starting position. Now, will he beat Blake Jarwin outright? Remains to be unseen, but a lot of people on Twitter right now, they're just like, how could you dare talk about Dalton Schultz as a starter? And because you got to understand, what Blake Jarwin was doing was in a completely different, situation, because when he really played under Witten, we didn't have CeeDee Lamb. Even though we did have Randall Cobb, we didn't have CeeDee Lamb. So there's going to be, a lot of balls spread around, whether it's Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. But you also got to factor in the tight end position, but also Tony Pollard now. It really depends on what we're going to do with the wide receiver corps, whether it's going to be Simi, Noah Brown, or Cedric Wilson. So, the offense is going to be moving the ball in different spots. Do we really, I know y'all probably thinking, do we really need Tucker? Are you saying do we need a tight end to produce that much? Yeah, we can if we would have got the right one in the draft, but we didn't get him. But there's an opportunity for Blake Jarwin to come in and really help with this offense and take it to another level. And especially what we've always talked about is in the red zone, because that's where I want to get more efficient. And I think that's where Kellen Moore needs to drastically improve, is in the red zone. We got to stop leaving points on the board and leaving up to the field goals and selling for field goals and different things like that. I think from the Cowboys standpoint, the yardage is there. We can move down the field in a flash, but getting into the end zone, getting those 6 points is going to be detrimental to this offense, and especially with the way that our defense is kind of working right now, kind of just, in limbo, as we'll say, which we'll talk about here in a second. I need to see, Blake Jarwin and also Dalton Schultz be more of a red zone threat. But I think that's what, Mike McCarthy's focus is going to be, and also Kellen Moore's focus will be, because you think about it, a lot of these wide receivers that we drafted, as we mentioned in the previous video, have a lot of size, whether it's Simi, whether it's Vasher, a lot of these guys that we brought in, they do have size, to kind of bring in some height, some physicality, which can help us tremendously in the red zone. So I'm looking forward, because like I said, the offense is really going to have to carry until defense can find their footing, because I personally don't believe, and I said this on Twitter the other day, I was like, a lot of Cowboys fans, y'all are putting a whole lot of stock into these rookies. And I wasn't trying to downplay our draft, right? That's what I wasn't saying. I was saying, for the most part, you got to think about it from this standpoint. even if you go back to last year's draft, even as bad as we killed it, we had CeeDee Lamb who was starting, right, day one. You had Diggs, right? And even Diggs, there was like, we even had some veterans in-house, but for the most part, that was it. Like Neville Gallimore wasn't a day one starter. Tyler Biadasz was a day one starter. They ultimately moved into the rotation. They were depth guys, and due to injuries, they were able to roll into the starting lineup. Now, I was saying, when it comes to our defense, right, you can probably lean on Parsons, right? And to be honest with y'all, the way that I'm kind of reading things early, I think Jordan Lewis is going to be our CB2, right? Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm overreacting way too early when it comes to that. But I think Jordan Lewis is going to be our CB2, and then Boss Man will probably be kind of working depending on what type of camp he has. But I just don't feel like Boss Man right now is going to be the lock-in CB2 out the gate. I just don't see Dan Quinn coming out with Diggs and Boss Man game one versus Tampa Bay. I think you're going to see Jordan Lewis maybe be CB2. And you can kind of see that by the way Jordan Lewis has been, talking on Twitter or Instagram and different things like that. I feel like he's going to have more responsibilities defensively. And because they re-signed him, they brought him back for a reason. So I feel like they're going to try to utilize Jordan Lewis. And so I might be wrong. Right, I might just be having airport fever right now, but I feel like Jordan Lewis is going to be the other cornerback from Trayvon Diggs until Bossman can get up to speed. I just don't see them tossing him out to the Wolves, especially against Tampa Bay. It's going to be tough. And so I know that I saw Dak was with Boss Man. I think they were doing something for Dak's charity, which is good because that's what Boss Man needs, man. Kelvin Joseph needs that veteran leadership, those guys that kind of show him the way, how to move in Dallas. And so getting under Dak Prescott, there's no better leader in the NFL from my standpoint. Moving change. So Bossman didn't play enough in college, and that's to our advantage though because they would have been off the board mid-round. Yeah, and I say that because I think we spoke about him when it comes to him. He only played about 15 total games. He had some games at LSU. He opted out. He didn't opt out the full season, but he opted out the last 2 games I think at Kentucky. So Bossman is still, though he's talented, he's still very green, and so I don't think Dan Quinn is going to rush him and just toss him out to the Wolves. Now, I might be wrong. He might just say, you know what, I'm going to toss this kid out there and we're going to figure out. Now, better hold on tight, Cowboys fans, because that's the case. Because you got to think about it. Even though Diggs played a season last year, he's still in development, though I think he's going to be solid. And also, Bossman is a rookie. You can't toss that out to the Tom Brady opening night. I'm sorry. So I would rather have someone out there who's more of a veteran and be out there. Hey, thank you, Moving Chains. I appreciate you for the donation. I appreciate you. Like I said, safe travels. Appreciate you guys, man. Like I said, I'm here in the airport probably another 4 hours. I just ate at John Elway's restaurant, man. Y'all see I'm dezzed up. I'm starred up regardless, man. So, I'm here in Denver. Yeah, I appreciate that. Huh? All right, so my wife's telling me I need to move my location because she doesn't want me to get on the no flight list. We got more vacations. So I'm about to move over in this little private corner here. Hold on. Get my mask on. See, I'm banged up, right? Bounded by darkness. Denver Airport's pretty nice. Let's see. There's people over there. Let's see. All right, I'm going to keep it moving. A second here. Let's see. I'm gonna go find a spot where I can chill and be in peace. My wife gets paranoid by stuff like that. Like bro, I can just chill. You know what I'm saying? Just at the airport, minding my own business. But can y'all still hear me? Let me know if y'all can still hear me real quick where I find me a spot, kind of chill. I'm gonna post up over here in the corner. Let's see here. Here's another thing, man. Y'all see this? That's a moving sidewalk, right? I hate when people get on those and run. It's like the dumbest thing ever, but it is what it is. So let's see. All right. right, cool. All right, much better sunlight. So it's called Elway's. So he has like an Elway's steakhouse that's in, he has Elway's Steakhouse. He has one that's in the airport. So if y'all ever get stopped here, have a long layover in Colorado, definitely check it out. It's expensive as hell, but it's decent, man. It's decent. So yeah, he also has like a few other joints here in Colorado that I've been to before. I mean, it's nothing too special, but like I said, I've been stuck here. I'm probably about to go just drink at the bar for a little bit. Like I said, I don't leave until 5 o'clock. I don't fly out till 5 o'clock, and it's like noon here in Denver. So I let my wife book all the travel, and she botched it all. But it is what it is. We're having fun. So yeah, I was talking about, so Trayvon Diggs, Boss Man Fat. Like I said, I think that Boss Man will not be the CB2. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Ryan. Oops, yeah, man. Let the wife book, man. So yeah, she booked, and we were like layovers. Like when I book, man, I don't do no layovers. I'm probably like here for an hour, and I dip out because I hate, cutting into my travel time. It's pretty much an entire day is being wasted for travel. Like I could have been working right now and then just hop on the flight later, but it is what it is. Like I said, we're just chilling here at the Denver airport. But it's a nice airport, man. Mountains and stuff out there, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, and Colorado's a nice spot, man. So we're going to South Dakota. Anybody in the chat been to South Dakota? I personally never been. We're supposed to be going hiking, and my sister-in-law's getting married out there, and it's gonna be like wilderness and bears and all sorts of shit out there. So I'm going to South Dakota. Yeah, so yeah, cheers to South Dakota. But I was also saying, yeah, so Bossman Fat, CB2 on opening day, I don't know. He's really going to have a good camp, but I expect to see big things from Jordan Lewis. That's exactly where I'm going. I'm moving chains. I'm going to Rapid. So any idea what the hell I'm supposed to be doing there? So like I said, I think having great things about Jordan Lewis, man. I think Jordan Lewis is going to be taking a lot more responsibility when it comes to the secondary, which I'm excited about, man. I've personally been a Jordan Lewis fan. I just feel like for the most part since he's been here in Dallas, he just hasn't been utilized properly. So I'm excited what he brings. He can play the slot. Jordan Lewis can also be an outside corner. You start to hear a lot of people say this, like, oh, Jordan Lewis is only a slot corner. He's only a nickel corner. Like, no, he's not only a nickel corner. He can play the outside if need be, but he can also play the slot. He can also come off and blitz. And so I like what he can do. Bring back Poe and Heath. Poe, no. Heath, I would to it, right? I wouldn't be out on Heath. I know a lot of Cowboys fans are out on Heath, but Dontari Poe, absolutely not, man. Like, especially what we already have in house. I'm excited about our interior defensive tackles, man. For them to be able to bring in, Brent Urban, Osa, you know what I'm saying, Chauncey Golston. And then also Big Bohanna, man. I feel like we have more than enough. You add that with Tristan Hill and Neville Gallimore. I feel that we have more than enough when it comes to our interior depth. That will be okay. We don't need Dontari Poe. Now, the safety position, as we all know as Cowboys fans, man, it kind of scares me. You know what I'm saying? I just don't know. We're going to have to, at this point, trust DeMonte KZ, and kind of roll with them, man, especially at that free safety position. Now, I know if you saw the pictures today, I think someone posted on Twitter, but Keanu O'Neal, man, Keanu O'Neal looks like a damn linebacker, bro. Like, Keanu O'Neal is like ripped, like he's jacked. So he must have put on some size, or is putting on some size currently, because he's a lot bigger than what I've previously seen from Keanu O'Neal. So I think that he's officially in linebacker mode. And I know that this past week, and I didn't go live or anything this week because I've been trying to get ready for all this, because I actually forgot that the wedding was this week, because I had some shows planned, lined up. And my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, she's like, "Oh, like the wedding was next week." I'm like, no, all right. So I'm tripping. Lost a thought. But I know there's been a conversation about LVE or also Jalen Smith. Like, were we going to move on to them? There's kind of circulating rumors that we tried to move on them from the draft or whatnot. I personally don't think that we are going to try to move on from LVE or Jalen Smith. I would say Jalen Smith, absolutely not. They just gave him 9. I think they're very high on him. I think if there's an opportunity that presented itself for LVE, they might consider it. for the most part, but I just don't see what type of offer, like what can we really get back of value for LVE. I mean, NFL teams are dumb. They know his history. I think there was a report even today that broke out at camp that he intercepted Dak and he was down for quite some time. And I know a lot of, the medical staff had to rush out there. I guess he just knocked the wind out of himself, but that's the type of thing you get when it comes to Leighton Vander Esch. So I don't think that he's worth any more than maybe a third, fourth at the most. And so I think that just having that depth in-house, especially at the middle linebacker position, is a lot more beneficial for Leighton Vander Esch as far as the Dallas Cowboys are concerned, instead of just trading him and getting a fourth pick or a fifth round pick. I just don't see the value in it. So I think that you'll see Jalen Smith and also Leighton Vander Esch on this roster for sure. And maybe as we get into the thick of things and something kind of falls and breaks with the levy, then maybe they could use part of a trade package. But as of right now, I expect to see them on the final 53 roster going into camp. I just don't see them moving on. I know a lot of people want Jalen Smith gone. But here's the thing, when it comes to Jalen Smith, you got to think it from his capacity from a football perspective, right? Talk conceptual. Is he really as bad as what you see? No. Is there some boneheaded things that he does that we may not agree with, Cowboys Nation? But for the most part, we definitely need depth at the linebacker, because we didn't have depth at the linebacker position last year, right? We just got it in the draft. We don't want to revert back and go back to what we had last year, especially with the young core. Because what happens if, knock on wood, Micah Parsons flames out or Jabril Cox doesn't turn out to be what we think he's going to be, man? Like, we need some linebackers who are out there who know the game. We can't run out there, y'all, with the all-rookie defense and hopefully things work out. I just don't see that being the case, because you can't have Bossman Fat out there, cornerback 2, and then Parsons and Jabril Cox and then Osa and Bo. Like, it sounds good from the standpoint of, like, our rookies are getting some time, but for the most part, we can't do it. So we're going to have a lot of these veteran guys really be the bridge until these rookies kind of work themselves, and I think that mid-season you'll start to see a spark. 2022 NFL draft, re-up the O-line. Yeah, it really depends on where we're going to be picking in Vegas. Hopefully it's going to be in the later rounds, and so I would not be opposed to revamping the offensive line. Now, for the most part, we do have a lot of young offensive linemen in-house that can definitely be influential. I know a lot of people, including myself, had a lot of things to say about Josh Ball, who we drafted. Off the field wise, but maybe he's going to be a guy that's going to be a rotational guy for us and give us depth at the left tackle, also the right tackle position. You also got to consider, we still got Brandon Knight, we got Connor McGovern. Terrence still had a full season under his belt last year as well, so we have a lot of depth when it comes to the offensive line. So I feel like offensive line really isn't a drastic need. Now, here's the thing, I can tell people, like, when it comes to OTAs, mini camps, all that, we're going to hear nothing but flowers and roses, right? Because every player is healthy, every player is 100%, every player could go today if they needed to or whatnot. Like I said, because we're hearing about Tyron Smith, he's 100%. Lyle Collins is supposed to be 100% right now. So, you're hearing that, but it's like, until Cowboys fans, we actually see it, it's really hard to believe at this point, man. So we got to take it day by day. But I feel like with our depth, with our offensive line, based off of what we went through last year, we're going to be all right. I don't really have any concerns with the offensive line. Offensively, my only real concern, I would say, is just, if something was to happen in case, Blake Jarwin was to go down and we really have to just resort to Dalton Shultz. I'm not really sold on Jeremy Sprinkle, to be honest with you. So if that's the case, but, we really don't use 2 tight end sets anyway for the most part. So it's like, I'm really not concerned. Offense isn't an issue, and that's why I've been so confident in a lot of my conversations about this roster going into next year, because I feel like for the offensive standpoint, as long as Dak holds up, offensive line, holds up much better than last year, I don't see much concerns offensively, man. It's really just red zone scoring, optimizing the play calling. Those are the things I'm really looking for offensively. Defensively, I have a few question marks, but I'm just not, just drastically concerned like a lot of fans are. I'm extremely optimistic, y'all, about next year, man. Like, I really am. Like, once the kind of smoke settled and everything kind of cleared, I'm a lot more optimistic about the season, going into the season. When you look at the schedule now, we do got some tough road matchups. We can't deny that. Kansas City, Tampa Bay, also playing games in the division. But for the most part, going to also the Saints as well. And so we got some tough road matchups. But for the most part, y'all, there's really no team in the NFC that scares me at this point. And maybe it's my Cowboys fan bias that kind of shows in. But when I look at the rosters where I know what we're capable of doing, if Dak comes back, and he's just give me Dak from what we saw last year up to Game 5, right? I feel like with CeeDee Lamb, as Mike McCarthy spoke about today, like CeeDee Lamb is holding himself up like a pro. He's growing. He's getting in, tremendous shape. If you haven't seen CeeDee Lamb, we all saw the photo the other day when he made the jump. Now, CeeDee Lamb, I'll say this, bro. I don't need you making no more jump catches like that in camp. Like, chill, bro, because no. Because you're the one player we cannot risk. But, like, you add CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. I feel like Michael Gallup in the contract year is going to be more focused than ever. I feel like Zeke is extremely pissed off, and he's going to be ready to go. You're going to see Pollard utilized in a lot of different ways. You have offensive line back healthy. So, offense, granted, I know a lot of people say defense wins championships, but offensively, I'm extremely optimistic about where this team can go. I feel like this is just few tweaks with the play calling and a few of the schemes, and I feel like we'll be right back. So Team 40 Burgers, it still exists. It still exists. I don't know how Cowboys fans could be Team 40 Burgers this last year, Team 40 Burgers that last year, and then just this season they're out on it. Like, it's like, oh man, the offense, and like it can't be. Like, I feel like for the most part, we are going to be one of the most prolific teams offensively in the NFL. You'll have Kansas City, you'll have Tampa Bay, you may have Green Bay, but for the most part, man, we're going to be right back in the scheme of things offensively. If the defense could just meet us halfway. Can you meet me halfway? Like, if defense can just meet us halfway, and like I said this last year, right? If we had Dak Prescott, do you think your defense is better than the Seahawks? I don't know, man, because like I said, it's really hard to say, here on, June 3rd that we're better. I'll have to actually see how things are starting to map out, because I know there's a lot of question marks. Do we truly know what Dan Quinn's going to bring to the scheme? There's been so many conversations. Is it a 3-4? Is it a 4-3 under? Is it a hybrid? Are we going to play a 4-2-5? Are we going to play a big nickel? So there's going to be so many different moving pieces. I feel like until I can actually see it and digest it, then I will be able to kind of say, all right, this is where we stand or where we should be. But I feel like you got to have hope, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like you're going to have blind faith when it comes to the defense. You got to have hope, right? And here's the thing. It can't get no worse than what we saw last year. And that's the one thing I've been saying. Dan Quinn is actually playing with house money, because the defense can't get any worse than last year. But even if you add the offense that we had last year before Dak got hurt, right? And then the way the defense was playing at the end of the season, because at least at the end of the season, they were getting turnovers. If you would have gave me that with Dak Prescott, we'd have been perfectly fine to be able to make a playoff push last year. And I stand by that, right? I feel like last year is like when Dak was playing for those first 5 weeks, defense was completely absent, right? They were absent. End of the year, when they started playing a lot better, getting turnovers, well, offense was absent. Hey, Christian, I'm flying to South Dakota. So exciting, man. Cheers to South Dakota. I know a lot of people say about Mount Rushmore, so I'm going to try to find Mount Rushmore. I know we're supposed to be going on some hiking trails, and, I don't do that stuff. I'm a beach guy, right? So, like, here in a week and a half, I'm going on my type of vacation and going to the beach and sand and, and margaritas and stuff like that. Like, that's my vacation. But, here we are in South Dakota. It's nature, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Safe travels, man. Appreciate it. So, like I said, I'm stuck here at the airport for another 4 to 5 hours. So I was like, let me see. I got some reception in here, got some internet. Let me go live with the people and just chime in, because I know I haven't been able to do a show all week. So when so ask questions, man. Ask questions. Like I said, I'm just sitting here chilling. I'll probably stay on for like another 10 to 15 minutes. And just chill, man. Yeah, you gotta represent for wifey, man. Wifey likes to do outdoorsy type stuff, man. So y'all might see me live streaming with the bear or some stuff like that, some buffalo. What's up? What's going on, bro? Yeah, I don't know, man. So it's like I never thought I would be flying on vacation to South Dakota, but it is what it is, man. So like that girl who on internet, man, who pushed the bear, man. Y'all might see Tuck out there wrestling the bear in the middle of South Dakota, man. So but then also Yeah, fight a bear. If I fight a bear on live stream, man, I better have mad donations for that, man. Because of course, I'm gonna handle the bear. Like if that little girl can handle a bear, I can handle it. Nah, I want no problems with a bear, bro. I am not trying to wrestle no bear. Closest encounter I ever been with like a wildlife animal, man, was like an alligator when I was in Florida, man. Like an alligator was like right there at me. And it was like, do I run? I'm like, nah, bro. Just kind of stay still. And then luckily he turned around because he didn't want no smoke. Should we trade LVE or let him ride out the year? Like I was talking about this earlier. I don't think that we should trade Leighton Vander Esch unless we can get a player of value. And like I said, I think that they heard that the Steelers is one of the options for a Vander Esch trade. Also, the Patriots was another option. But I want something back, and not just a draft pick. I feel like a draft pick does us no good. I want an impactful player, preferably a safety or a cornerback, and we can make that work. If that was to happen, then I'm open to trading Leighton Vander Esch or Jalen Smith, right? But it's like, I want something back of value that can contribute to this defense this year. Getting a draft pick and just having 13 picks next year in Vegas sounds good, but I'm just not with it, man. So personally, I would hold on to Leighton Vander Esch because, like I said, Leighton Vander Esch at the middle linebacker position, he's still solid. It's just keeping him healthy. And so I feel like for the most part, we can keep him in. Here's what I think is going to happen with Leighton Vander Esch, y'all. This is just me personally. I feel like Leighton Vander Esch will be on the Cowboys roster. He will have a decent season. And then what they're going to do, they're going to give him a Stephen Jones type offer next year and kind of lowball him and keep him on the roster. I think that Leighton Vander Esch will be a Dallas Cowboy for the foreseeable future. I feel like he's going to be a negotiable player. They'll be able to lowball Leighton Vander Esch because he's been injury prone, so he kind of knows that, right? They're going to kind of see what the market value is, maybe give him a lowball offer, and he'll be back with Dallas next year. If I had to kind of pick on what's going to happen, that's what it will be. So, I don't see Leighton Vander Esch unless. And granted, I've been joking right on Twitter. It's like, all right, you can move Leighton Vander Esch and get Derwin James and, swap, right? That's not going to happen. The Chargers got a 5th-year option on Derwin James. Though I would love to have Derwin James. Y'all know me. I'm no-blooded, man. And shouts out to Florida State, man. They got the new white helmets looking crispy, man. But I would definitely, make that swap. I would like to bring in just that safety finally. But we got to get to the point, Cowboys fam. The Cowboys don't give a damn about that safety position. And they're going to continue to kind of put these rotational guys out there. You know what I'm saying? And it really is. So we really just have to pull for, DeMonte KZ and hope that he really pulls out. The Peyton Manning physical test. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I said, Leighton Vander Esch, here's the thing, y'all. Leighton Vander Esch had injury history when he came out of Boise. We knew this, but we still drafted him, so we really can't be mad at Vander Esch. Like, he's just who he is. Like, in some players, they get these injuries, they start to amount throughout the career, and just builds and builds and builds. But, Mike McCarthy had said today, what I saw is that, Leighton Vander Esch is about 100% healthy, which, like I said, they always say that everybody's 100% healthy and is the best shape he's ever seen and doing all the right things, on June 3rd, but we'll see when we get to camp. But because we all know, like, that first week of camp, man, that's when the tires start to blow, hamstrings, all, quad strains, all sorts of stuff starts to happen, man. So, that remains to be unseen. But I also heard Mike McCarthy, he mentioned the press conference, and you didn't check out the press conference, definitely checked it out. I was kind of just hearing it, on the plane. But he also mentioned about Randy Gregory, that he's excited about Randy Gregory for having a full season and what he can really do and bring to the team playing. Because this will be the first time we've seen Randy Gregory get a full season of action. No weed suspensions and different things like that. So it'll be interesting to see what Randy Gregory does with the full season of action. Is he going to be what everybody believes Randy Gregory is, and that one that dynamic defensive ends, or will he kind of be one of those guys we sit back and say, all right, he's only good for like 5 to 6 games and more of a rotational guy? But yeah, just like Moving Change has said, I'm excited to see Gregory get a full course of action, man. So hopefully he's going to get his mind right and body right. But you got to think about it. With Gregory now and also D-Law being our primary defensive ends, and what we added in the draft, a lot of people have kind of been out in this guy, but either you talk about Basham or you talk about, Chauncey Golston or Osa, we now have more that we can throw in the rotation to help with our edge rusher. So that way we're not wearing DeMarcus Lawrence out or wearing Randy Gregory out. Like, we can put these rotational guys in there and add like suitable quality depth. Because we signed Basham, I think he got a 2-year deal, right? I think he was the only guy we signed for 2 years. So, the depth is there, right? The depth is there. We just have to find out, Cowboys Nation, who is going to be our core guys. That's the question mark right now. Who's the core guys, right? And I feel like once we get that, everything will start to fall in place. And I feel like once we really know what Dan Quinn's scheme ultimately is, things will make a lot more sense. But yeah, I'm excited for Randy Gregory, man. Like I said, he's one of those guys who we drafted. It's been an up and down roller coaster, suspension into suspension, different things like that. So Cowboys fans really haven't seen him at a full go. 17 games, he'll probably be the day one starter and what he really does. And I feel like Dan Quinn, he's not going to do like Mike Nolan did last year, right? He is going to find a way to utilize talent and put them in the best positions to win. I feel like he's going to do this thing with DeMarcus Lawrence. He's going to do that with Randy Gregory. I feel like he's going to do that with Jalen Smith. I think he's going to do that with Micah Parsons. He's going to put the talented players in positions where they can use their God-given abilities to win. I feel like that's what Mike Nolan really failed at last year. You have DeMarcus Lawrence, right? He's a pass rusher. He's an edge rusher. He's a threat. He causes chaos, disruption in the backfield. You don't need him in coverage. You really don't need him in coverage. And so I feel like Dan Quinn is going to simplify things defensively. He's going to put players in the best spot where they're able to win. And I feel like that's going to translate defensively with this defensive roster, man. So, I'm excited about the defense and where it can go. If I had to go right now, and let me know down in the comments, where do you think end of the day where this Dallas Cowboys defense is going to rate? I would say, if I wanted to put money on it, I would say we'll be in the top 20. I would say we would finish the season overall. I'm talking about, also in the pass defense and all rush defense as a whole, right? Run defense as a whole. I would say we're going to be 16th in the NFL. That's how I feel. And I guess what I'm really putting a lot of that hope on is Dan Quinn, man. I feel like, so moving to, 12 to 18, yeah. So I got like 16, 17, right around that range. I feel like ultimately in total defense, that's where this team has the capability to be, and that's where we'll be at the end of the year. And if you give me that, right, if you give me the top 16 defense, right, and a top 4 offense, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking a little bit, man. But also, are we a playoff team? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like, Steve, honestly, bro, if we don't make the playoffs, it's a huge question mark, especially if healthy. Like, right, if everything goes as is, everybody's healthy, and we fall short of the playoffs, something has to change, right? And I feel like that change might be Mike McCarthy. I feel like he might be the scapegoat if that happens, especially if it's like the Giants who go out of the division. Because like I said, I think that, it's going to be Cowboys, Giants, Washington, and I feel like, I'm not one of those Cowboys fans who be like, Philly's going to suck. And Philly's going to be disruptive. Will they be, the win the division? Nah. But I feel like they're going to be disruptive enough. And I feel like you're going to see a drastic boost as far as the quality of performance across the NFC East as a whole. You're not going to get last year's NFC East. Right. I feel like because the NFC East, at the end of the day, we do have talent across the board. It's just sometimes we have Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde syndrome. Like, we just never put it together at the right times. But I feel like, look at what the Giants are doing. You look at what the Cowboys have. You look at what Washington has, like even with Fitzmagic coming in. Like, there's talent. There's lots of talent. If you're a fantasy football player and you're drafting, you're a lot of players out the NFC East. Like, let's be honest. And so the talent is there. It's just putting together. Jerry has to change. He can't, but Jerry's never going to change. He's never going to change, and we got to accept that, man. I know a lot of people, and like I said, I was going to make a video on this, and I had this whole thing set up. I just didn't have time to really drop it. But I went to a Kansas City Sporting game, right? Soccer, right? Just in the middle of Midwest Kansas soccer event, bro. And what I want to say, y'all, like, that atmosphere was electric, and I was so shocked, like, this is what y'all doing for soccer? Like, bro, like, people were standing the entire time. The whole crowd had flags. If one person stood up and did a chant, the whole crowd knew the chant, and it was just it was like something amazing to witness. And like, I've been saying, like, why as Cowboys fans, Cowboys Nation, the biggest brand of all of sports, we don't have that camaraderie amongst the fans. Like, we don't have anything that I could say. If I saw a Cowboy, I actually saw a pilot, he had a Cowboys hat on, but I can't start a chant. He just knows the chant. We just go from there and we say what's up and move. Like, the closest thing that we have that's symbolic to us is just throwing up the X, right? But like, if you're a Packers fan, you can say go Pack Go, or Fly Eagles Fly, or Who Dat, or, you know, all those different things that these teams around the NFL have them to themselves as unique. We don't have that as Cowboys fans. And I was like, how do we change the culture? And a lot of people brought up this idea, and I think this guy had this idea, and I was trying to find the guy on Twitter, but no one can really find his resources to contact him. Yeah, We Them Boys, like I said, even though with We Them Boys, bro, Wiz Khalifa is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not really ours. You know, it's kind of like we just taken that and we applied it to ourselves. But he made Black and Yellow, then he dropped We Them Boys on some other stuff, right? And we just kind of like, all right, We Them Boys, and we just kind of took it and ran with it. So it really just didn't feel like our own. But I was saying, like, the guy was talking about like 2014, I think he saw this, about AT&T Stadium, about changing the culture in Dallas, right? And he was talking about this idea called Rowdy Road. And it's perfect because it's exactly what I saw in Kansas City at the sporting game, right? So in Kansas City at the sporting game, they have what's called the Cauldron, right? And it's a whole section where the rowdy fans, the fans who want to cuss, stand up, wave flags, that's just their section, right? That's their place to be themselves, right? And what he was trying to build was Rowdy Row in Dallas, where we have a section where we can just be ourselves. Now, granted, we have the party deck, right? But the party deck, you damn near by the door sometimes. And so it really doesn't have the impact as being right there, maybe in the end zone could have. And so I was thinking about starting the petition to maybe bring that back. And just like, because I've been at Cowboys games, like I always sit at the 100 level for the most part. Like I'm always down the lower deck, right? There has been so many, because he said it in his article, right? The ushers have been called on me for standing up. I remember it was third down, like 3rd and 2. Our defense was on the field. I stood up and everybody was sitting. I said, why are y'all sitting down on 3rd down? A guy pointed to the usher. The usher comes down and says, sir, you're going to have to stay seated or we're going to have to ask you to move. This is at home. This is at home at AT&T Stadium. This is 3rd down. Defense on the field. I think we were playing the Giants that game, to be honest with you. I stood up, 3rd quarter, and like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's so different, like, compared to going to like Arrowhead. I've been to Arrowhead before, you know what I'm saying? Like, other stadiums, it's so different versus Dallas. And Dallas is very like, wine and cheese. And I get it. Dallas is kind of luxury. You know, AT&T Stadium was like the very first luxury stadium. But for the most part, for Cowboys fans like me, for you guys that watch the channel, we need a spot where we can go to games and just be ourselves. Yell, scream, rep our team, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I just don't understand the culture because that transcends, man. It transcends. And it's like, you know, I just want that area for us. So I'm trying to think of ways we can build it. Like, I've been talking, like, honestly, y'all, I was on a warpath. Like, I couldn't sleep the other night. I was talking to so many people. I was like, how do we duplicate this in Dallas? Like how can we duplicate this in Dallas? But yeah, I love AT&T Stadium. I just got season tickets, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be a fan regardless. But there needs to be a spot where we can come out and have our own ideas. So like the Cauldron, right, in Kansas City for the sporting. Here's how it works. If I go to Dallas, right, and KC Sporting are playing FC Dallas, you know what Sporting KC does? They give us free tickets to take over their stadium. And we all sit together in the same row, and we're rowdy as hell, and we're trying to create a hostile environment on the road. Now, of course, Jerry would never do that because that's NFL money. But what if it's like a community within a community, all right? It's Cowboys Nation, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we had our own section, like, all right, this is just strictly for us, right? Be crazy within reason, you know what I'm saying? Don't be acting like some of these NFL or NBA idiot fans are doing right now, but within reason, you guys can stand. You want to bring signs, banners, horns, you know, whatever the hell you want to bring in, and just go completely apes. That's what the Cowboys fans need, man, because there's been so many instances I've been at AT&T Stadium where, you know, Dak at home is having to shush the crowd. Think about that. Dak Prescott, I've seen numerous cases at AT&T Stadium where Dak Prescott and the offense are on the field, and Dak Prescott's waving the crowd to be quiet. I'm like, why are y'all going crazy right now on offense when we got the ball, but on defense, y'all are sitting down, checking your Instagram, taking pictures? Like, I just don't get it. But, like, for most part, and, like, a lot of people who live in Dallas, they said that, because the atmosphere is the same even for the Mavericks, right? It's more about the experience, you know what I'm saying, versus the actual game, right? It's just like a date night, right? You know what I'm saying? If you ever been to AT&T Stadium, you'll see people not even dressed in Cowboys gear, but they're just dressed up like they're going to the club, and it's just the thing to do, right? Just go to the game, pull up, 5 minutes before, you know what I'm saying, park right in front of the stadium, go into your luxury press box, and, drink your, that's the atmosphere sometimes in Dallas versus, if you're like me, you want to get to the stadium as soon as the parking lot opens. You're tailgating, you're sweating, you're high-fiving, you're meeting every fan, you're just going crazy, and then the game continue to go crazy, and then you get to that parking lot after the game, and you're, tired, right? And so, but it's a difference, it's split amongst the fandom in Dallas, man. So I would like to duplicate that and bring a new culture, because honestly, y'all, we can't bring a new culture amongst the organization. Is going to have to be, at least with the fan base, right? At least if we can do it amongst ourselves, if we just come up to AT&T Stadium and we're turned up to the max, and then maybe that will translate. So how many NFL stadiums I've been to? I've been, let's see, I would say six, give or take. And it'll be 7 if you want to count the old stadiums, like the Rams old stadium and also Texas Stadium, but I've been to 6 different NFL stadiums. To be quite honest with you, we'll see it when Cowboys come play here in Kansas City. Arrowhead is by far the best football stadium I've ever been to. And it sucks to say that because I'm a Cowboys fan and Chiefs Stadium, but see it out, coach. Because it's like a nightclub, bro. It really. And here's what I've been saying, right? The Las Vegas Raiders, they are about to go through that same experience, right? Where they used to have the black hole in Oakland, it was rowdy, and they're going to see a lot of people just being in Vegas. There's nothing to do. They're going to want to go to the games before they go out to the club. They're going to be not even it's going to be very different for the Raiders, and we experienced that as Dallas Cowboys fans, right? We experienced that. The Lincoln Philly is lit as Cowboys fans. If you're right, yeah, that's the thing. Is I've never been to Philly. I was wanting to go to Philly, but I never felt I need to find some Cowboys fans who are riders that would go to Philly. 'Cause I'm not going to Philly by myself. Hell no. That was setting that's just stupid, right? If I had a few Cowboys fans that are just riders, if something pops off and we ready to really rock and roll, all right, I might hit Philly, man. But for the most part, I kind of stay away from Philly. But Arrowhead, man, it's the atmosphere. You stand the entire time. Everything is just fan friendly. The pricing, their parking is like Chiefs fans were complaining because their parking was increased to $60. I was $60 parking? That's light. That is light. That's light, man. But I've never been to Seattle, but I heard Seattle's amazing, man. So I'm just going off of Kansas City. But here's the thing, Kansas City's you get all of it, man. You get the tailgate and atmosphere. Their tailgate is top to notch. I don't want to go into that KC versus Texas barbecue situation, but tailgate is top to notch. The fandom is top to notch. When they start that Arrowhead chant, because I was there the night the Chiefs broke the record for the Guinness Book of World Records versus the Patriots, and you could literally not hear. My best friend was next to me. I could not hear what he was saying. It was just so loud. Your feet were rumbling. It was crazy. I'm bro, we could do that. But as big as our stadium is, indoor, all of that, bro, we could really do that in Dallas and really create a new culture to turn things to the next level, man. But it's going to be a slow build. It's not going to build overnight. Shout out to my guy Big Simple, man. He's a Washington football fan. We lit in the house, man. But yeah, man. So yeah, Falcons have the cheapest and best food prices under $10 per meal. Yeah, it's fan friendly, man. A beer at AT&T Stadium is just $11-12. And here's the weird thing about it, because I experienced when I was at the sporting game, right? A lot of people are going to this cashless thing. So it's no cash. It's all right, well, the beer guy comes down a row. He's all the way down there. And it's beer. I'm yeah, 2. And I'm he's oh, no cash. I'm bro, I'm not going to pass my credit card down this long ass aisle. So what do? So I had to walk cross 2 aisles to give him, like, it's just weird, man. So, it's going to be a lot of adjustments, man, but I'm excited for the season, man. Washington Nation take over. Yeah, Vegas is going to be super expensive. I'm actually going to Vegas next month, and I'm going to tour the stadium because I just want to see it. And I went the Cowboys versus Raiders game was actually in Vegas. That'll be a fun game to go to, but their prices are extremely expensive, man, and going crazy, man. So, it is what it is, man. But I just want to chime in. I appreciate everyone who joined in on the chat. Like I said, I'm stuck here at the airport for another 4.5 hours, man. So it's like, what did I really do? So it's like, I'm gonna hop on live, talk to the fans, man. I was gonna do a flashback Friday, but I probably won't be able to do because I'm not sure what my reception is going to be like out there to be able to edit and chop my video and do everything. So I might postpone Flashback Friday for next Friday, and I might just drop 2 videos on that Friday, man, to make up for this one, man. But I appreciate all of you guys' support, man, and rocking with me, man. So definitely, if you're new to the channel, comment, like, subscribe, and also follow me on Twitter at jtuck151. Cowboys fans only. Use code tag CFO Gang for 10% off. Join the Facebook group, all that fun stuff, man. I appreciate your support, man. I'm about to get back over to my wife. I'm about to probably go to the bar, man, and probably drink until 4 o'clock, man. So you might see Drunk Tuck on Twitter. So it is what it is, man. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys' support, man. Hope everyone's staying safe, staying blessed, staying encouraged. And I'm out, man. Stuck at the airport, man. Colorado, man. Go Cowboys. Peace.